I'm here with James Fluhr. He is the production designer of Masquerade. And we are here at Lee's Art Shop, which was an actual store that we used to go to, right?
Yes.
This is where the entire reimagining of the Phantom of the Opera takes place. Audiences enter here at 57th Street. There's a lot of people in black tie, and they're going in for quite an experience. What is it like to be here and to know that you have this secret world behind this wall?
It's thrilling. I mean, when you see people dressed up and they're waiting, it's like through those doors, like the entire opera house is gonna happen and come alive. And I think I just get excited for them, especially people who are coming for their first time.
Yeah.
Because once you step inside of our doors, it's unlike anything you've ever experienced in your entire life before.
So James, I am so grateful because you have agreed to allow me, the ultimate Phantom and now Masquerade fan, inside to see some of your rooms. So let's go in.
Excited. Yeah,
Thank you so much. So James, I believe we are on the fourth floor.
We are on the fourth
of the building.
floor.
Where are we?
We are in the fly tower of the Opera Populaire, where if you were to look down in your imagination, you would be seeing the main stage of the Opera Populaire right through that opening.
What we're dealing with in this scene is Joseph Bouquet is a very famous Phantom character. Poor doomed Joseph Bouquet, right?
Yeah.
The Phantom sort of, I mean, I think we can spoil it.
I think most people know.
Most people know.
Yeah.
I think the Phantom goes after him, and that happens here, and it's so cool because we're way above the stage, and when you're here as an audience member, you really believe that. I mean, you really believe that like this is falling to your death, and it's all just this beautiful illusion. What's it like creating this space?
I mean, it's really trying to make that illusion happen and make that feeling happen. So we're looking at how can we light through the floor and make a porous floor so you can actually feel the opera house alive below you. How can we make this actually feel like a void so that not only our audiences believe it, but then our actors and performers also believe it? Because when they believe, we believe. There's a lot of trickery in terms of the atmosphere and the haze and just feeling a sense, this room I think is the one that feels the most dangerous. So when you walk in for this part of the scene, it does feel like there's something lurking. You're kind of higher up. There's a sense of danger alive.
What is it like watching people experience these spaces?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
When we got people in and audiences, seeing their eyes light up, seeing their imaginations broaden, seeing them wonder what's coming next, it's so thrilling to surprise them. I think it's really cool to see them walk into one room and experience one thing and then walk into another room and experience something completely different. And then also to feel them transformed at the end. They've gone on this odyssey with us, and it's thrilling to take them on that.
So what's really cool about Masquerade is that it's obviously the story of the Phantom, but I sort of described it as like in a blender, right? It takes a lot of the scenes and the elements, and it's in its own order. And this scene in particular is actually, it happens in the regular Phantom of the Opera musical, but we're seeing it sort of from a totally different perspective, visually and even storytelling-wise.
Yeah, we're seeing everything from his point of view. So that blender you're talking about, it's the story and the music and the love and the everything that we love about Phantom of the Opera, but it's done, from his eyes, from his perspective. So in the original staging, you actually see this scene from the main stage itself.
Right.
And you're hearing that he's up in the rafters, and you're hearing that he's, working in the fly tower, and then you see the results of him up there. But here, we actually take you behind all of that. We take you up to where he is.
Yeah.
And then you get to experience the action with him.
So let's walk this way because just logistically, so you're bringing, how many people in each audience for each performance?
It's 6 groups of 60
Right,
guests.
so about 60 people have to enter this space very quickly.
Yes.
There's a real, when you're watching the show, you're moving quickly and you're getting into the spaces and you have to seat everybody. So you come in through here and a lot of people seat here, and then so people are on the other side and people get different perspectives. So that's just a whole other element to this, just sort of figuring out how to also move bodies.
Yeah, the mechanics are a real art form, and to move the bodies and make sure that the next audience is feeling like they're the only audience as well in the space is also part of the artistry. We've referred to this as the Swiss watch, really, that the sound cues and our butlers who get people in and show us where we're supposed to go along with the story and the music, it all has to work perfectly in order to make sure that each group of 60 is experiencing this thing at its full and believing that they are the only ones here in this building.
And the performers are also physically doing crazy things in here. I mean, you have to come see it because they're really...
The battens are lifting and lowering, the bouquet and Phantom are chasing each other around. I mean, there's a moment when the Phantom is leaping from one beam to the next and he like reaches out. I mean, it really feels like, you know, we're in it. Like, and no one is kind of safe in this moment. Everyone is a part of it.
Yeah, I love it. It's literally putting people center stage in the gothic horror love story that we all love. Right here, you're in the middle of it. The Phantom is literally on top of you.
Yeah, and sometimes over there, and sometimes over there.
Right, that's the other thing. Sometimes he just appears and you didn't know he was literally right behind me at one of the points when I saw the shot. I was like, oh, hello.
You might feel, if you're walking through, you might feel his hand on your shoulder and you're like, who is that? And you turn. I remember I brought some of my family here and the Phantom touched my grandma like that and she was like, her eyes were so big. She's like, he's here, he's next to me. And I was like, that's so thrilling.
I love it.
Such a thrill.
All right, let's go down. There are all these things in French. And then all these like beautiful posters, right? From the history of the opera. And there's so much detail and you know, you're just sort of walking quickly by all this stuff. But that's one of the magical things about the experience. There's Carlotta starring as Carmen, you know. It's so great because you almost don't have time to take all these things in. There's always a reason for me to come back, trust me. The last time I was in this room, it was packed with people. What I love about this room is the detail. Like even like right behind you is the music box that fans of Phantom of the Opera, right? The monkey.
That's
the monkey, yeah.
His prototype.
When you come see it, you see all these little details and like they trigger different memories. That's so cool, right? To just feel, how many things are in here?
Oh, I mean, thousands. I don't know. I would like keep looking. I think we could count for like days and days. There's tons of little Easter eggs hidden all throughout.
So we're in the prop, what is this?
We're in the Opera Populaire prop storage room.
The storage room. And this is where the Phantom finds his mask, right?
Yes.
Famous mask. There's a beautiful moment that happens here with that. So where do these things come from? Are things made, sourced? A lot of these are very old antiques, I believe.
There are some things that were like authentically like brought in from France. There are some things that were like scoured and sourced from storage units and like vintage shops, and even some of this stuff was actually coming from you know, like theater storage houses themselves. So it feels really authentic, but there was just so many people and so much effort to fill rooms like this with all the detail that you're seeing.
Are you a fan of Phantom of the Opera?
Oh, diehard fan.
Yeah, okay,
like,
okay.
I'm just like
okay,
a
you're
diehard.
not faking it for the
no,
gig.
I'm not faking it for the gig. I moved to 44th Street into an apartment that like let me be as close to the Majestic Theater as possible. I've been a Phantom fan since I was 5 years old. Like this is like, I talk about this building being a place where dreams are coming true. Like my dreams as a fan came true here, and like our cast dreams are coming true here. Like all of our creative teams, like their dreams are coming true by bringing this to life in this building. It gets me excited to come back, and it gets me excited to see how excited people are, because I'm like, I love Phantom that much too.
Where are we? We are in a very important room, that again, a room we don't really see in the show.
Yeah, it's
Phantom of the Opera.
So this is the Phantom's study. This is you know, his collection of literature, also his collection of artwork, and he's also working on his Don Juan Triumphant here.
Don Juan Triumphant. Yeah.
A very important
piece
part of the show.
Yes, of course.
And he's also been working on his like confessing his love and his feelings for Christine. So we see all of those letters.
There's literally a pile of discarded love letters.
It's got to, you know, with the Phantom, it has to be perfect, and his search for perfection and how he expresses himself is also a really important part of the story.
Obviously, a lot of candles. Candles are very important to Masquerade.
Candles are important. It's like, it's how you see it's how you get anywhere. They're what the glow leads us through the entire space. And I think one of the things that we did also was like, this is all very inspired by the catacombs. So like, you know, the entire basement was kind of transformed in terms of how we were treating the walls and the surfaces. So it's got this kind of like wet under earth feel. So we've really kind of fleshed out, not just like, you know, the one layer that we've seen in the Broadway show, but we're fleshing out his entire domain. You know, a lot of it was actually really inspired by my own visit to the catacombs and what I saw there, and kind of how tight it was. Oh, it's like terrifyingly
You mean in
tight.
Paris?
Yeah. The catacombs actually go up underneath the Paris Opera House as well, and there's all these like hidden ways to get in and out. So we really use that as a reference point. I love to say that like we work for the Phantom. If it's from his point of view, we really think about how we're serving him and bringing that to life.
This is another one-of-a-kind scene for Masquerade. This is a dressing room at the Opera Populaire.
Yep.
I had a great moment with Carlotta in here, the diva, or the former diva. I don't know what's going on
The
with her.
demoted diva.
She's been demoted. Okay,
Yeah.
so she's in a group dressing room. So this is a much smaller room. So what you do, I think, is you break the 60 people into 3 different dressing rooms.
Yep.
And then this scene somehow happens in all 3?
All 3 of them. So it like rotates. So I think this is actually one of our like most like ingenious kind of setups for moving the plot along, is that we actually have 3 dressing rooms, and there is a scenelet. There's like 3 scenes that work in succession with each other, but they don't have to work in a specific order.
Right.
So we can actually run through these very specific scenes that move the plot along, that show that Christine, is struggling to come to terms with what she's being asked to do, as well as, Raoul and the managers plotting to take the Phantom down. It's really thrilling because this whole thing is like we're preparing now for the opera. We're preparing for Don Juan.
Yes.
And then when these scenes are over, we get pushed out back onto the stage. So it really brings that story to life in a completely new way.
What's it been like working with the actors and watching them navigate this? I mean, this is a very intimate opportunity to be like basically with a Broadway. And they hand notes to certain people during the night.
I mean, it's a spectacle. It's thrilling to be that close to Broadway voices. We talk about how like as many of us love Phantom, so performing in the show is a dream come true. Seeing the show and living in the world is a dream come true. So I think the performers and the audience are like sharing in that dream in a very special way. She kind of takes my breath away.
Still takes your breath away. I mean,
Yeah.
it is, I mean, I've seen the show, but it's so stunning to actually be in the room with her, correct?
Yes,
So
her.
What's her name?
Her name is Shelley. I named her when she came in, when she was put up. I named her after my aunt. My aunt was the first person to introduce me to Phantom of the Opera when I was 5 years old, and she never made it to see the Broadway show.
Oh.
But I was like, here she can glow kind of every night.
How beautiful. The one thing everyone knows about Phantom of the Opera is that there's a chandelier.
Yep.
It's a very famous thing, so you couldn't do Masquerade without a chandelier. But also, people think of the chandelier falling and this very big illusion, right? So it's really impressive to be in this room where it's dominated by this huge chandelier. It does not disappoint. It actually feels bigger than the one on Broadway. I don't know if it physically is.
It is.
It actually is, yeah.
I think one of the intentions was to make it feel as big as it was in your imagination. When you think of being up close to that chandelier, when you close your eyes and dream about it, and when you walk through those curtains, and it's sitting there waiting for you. It's like, it's the only time that a fan has ever been able to get that close to it and feel it.
Was there something visually you really wanted to pull off with the design of it?
It wants to kind of evoke all of the chandeliers.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily feel like it's its own, it kind of feels like it's ours. So you're seeing little pieces that are inspired by the actual one in the Palais Garnier, and little pieces that are inspired by Maria's original design. But it's all kind of put together in a new way. So it really does feel like you walk in and you're seeing the chandelier.
And it does move. You do see it in different states. It does drop. It does things.
It does all the things.
It does all the things.
It starts smoking and lights on, special effects fire. It shakes, it rumbles, it glitters, famous kind of notably with the 30,000 Preciosa crystals that are on it, which is kind of wild.
And this room also acts as sort of it's the theater. I mean, it is the Opera Populaire. You see them rehearsing here. You see Christine Daae get, pulled out of the ballet corps. You see all that happen, and you also see Don Juan happen here. This is the performance room, and it just transforms beautifully.
The mirror also happens in here,
Yes,
the mirror
the mirror
sequence.
moment.
It's kind of fascinating. You come in, the chandelier is down, it electrifies, it comes to life, the opera house comes to life, the battens fall. You start to feel these characters that you know behind you, left and right, and then it just erupts in this, you're just dropped in the middle of this rehearsal for this opera, and the story starts to unfold in kind of a really magical way.
Yeah.
And really, action is around you at every single corner.
What has this experience just done for you? I mean, I'm sure it's just been a crazy period of your life. How has this experience changed you, or what has it meant to you? How can you express that?
I think this experience has made me braver. I think the story is one about bravery and love and dreaming and kind of conquering your fears and being yourself no matter what. I think to do the show in a way that requires even more bravery, to pull off, I look at everything with a different kind of transformed lens. Like I feel like a braver artist, and I feel like a braver person.